walking on the streets of Saigon's new quarter. We're now walking towards the War Remnants Museum, which is going to be the first stop for today. Well, actually, it wasn't really the first stop because we went to Cambodian embassy to ask them about the visa process, because we've been hearing a lot of nasty things about the border control. So we just wanted to go and clarify. So we're just gonna go to the second floor and work our way down. Every floor has something interesting to tell about the Vietnam conflict. So after walking through this entire museum, Shishra and I thought we'll summarize it quickly and share what we learned. So Vietnam, Laos and Cambodia were collectively called as Indochina. This region was ruled by so many Indian and Chinese dynasties over thousands of years before the French established a colony there in the 1800s. After World War II, the Vietnamese succeeded in fighting off the French, and on September 2nd, 1945, Vietnam established its own president, Ho Chi Minh, a freedom fighter and one of the most popular communist leaders of that time, and he began to rule over Vietnam. He was a favorite of the people, and people gladly enjoyed participating in his pro-communist policies. But with the loss of the influence and control over the region, France decided to reconquer Vietnam and return to fight from the south. But this time they were badly defeated by the Vietnamese forces as they decided to go further up north from Saigon. As a result, the country was divided into two halves. The north was under the control of the Vietnamese and the south still under the influence of the French military, and a demilitarized zone was set up in the middle near Hue or Da Nang. In 1954, an agreement was signed in Geneva to reunite the country after conducting fair elections in 1956, and the French were supposed to withdraw completely. But that's when the USA felt it was important to support the Vietnamese government. And this support, the US usually brought this kind of support wherever they felt there were resources, wherever they felt that they should counter USSR's influence. And this was clearly communist territory, which US felt if they did not gain control over, would lead to all of Southeast Asia falling into the hands of USSR. By supporting the democratic rule here in Vietnam, a new president was elected from Saigon in South Vietnam, but the North Vietnamese did not accept this man as they believed that he was a puppet of the West. They wanted a more fair election, the president who would work for the people and not foreign governments, especially the USA, which at that time was trying to bring more countries under its influence due to the Cold War with the USSR, which was also doing the same thing. When the Vietnamese resisted, the USA funded South Vietnamese rulers with dollars for influence as well as for weapons. This angered the Vietnamese people even more. Things escalated this way until the US responded with its military might in 1965. US operated many bases in nearby Guam, Philippines and Thailand. These forces were deployed in Vietnam through Da Nang. This led to a full-fledged war between Vietnam and USA. The northern Vietnamese wanted to unite the country, but USA would not let the South unite with the North, since that would mean the end of Western influence and the fall of Vietnam to communism. One such operation was Rolling Thunder, and this is where many innocent Vietnamese lost their lives due to the bombings. But the worst came in 1972 when Hanoi and Haiphong in North Vietnam were attacked by the US forces, and this was the deadliest attack on the North Vietnamese till date, and tens of thousands lost their lives in a matter of just a few hours. Amongst the dead lay many American soldiers and pilots too. On both sides of Vietnam, whether north, south, or even in between in central Vietnam, many prisoners of war were captured and tortured. In the south, the Viet Cong had gathered great strength and were fighting the Americans and Western allies in the thick jungles. The Viet Cong were guerrillas and they were engaged in stealth warfare. They operated from forests, fields and farms, and while they appeared as farmers by day, they were actually fearless soldiers by night, advancing further and further into southern Vietnamese territory. With this, more Western soldiers were deployed in Vietnam, many of whom began to die every day as the war intensified. However, their families back home in the US or Australia or wherever these soldiers came from were not very happy. The American government in fact began to lose support at home, With elections coming around, the president in the US began to take this up as one of the main contentions of debate, because of which he could either make or break the government. At the same time, President Ho Chi Minh from North Vietnam traveled to many countries in the region, trying to convince them of the Vietnamese cause for independence and to diplomatically get them on board. In fact, he even came to India and found a great supporter in the Indian government for its cause. In the US, the hippie movement was a major boost to this cause too. Many young Americans criticized the government about the failing military action in Vietnam, which was only causing more deaths of both Vietnamese and Americans. With this, the US government had no option but to withdraw the war. In 1973, they all agreed to respect Vietnamese sovereignty and end the military operation. But it was only in 1975 that it actually fructified. On April 30th, 1975, the Liberation Army of Vietnam entered the Independence Palace in Saigon, the capital of South Vietnam, and finally declared the unification of the country. Today, there is only one Vietnam, and that's the one we're able to explore freely. The most tragic reminder of these wars has been Agent Orange. Agent Orange was an industrial defoliant chemical which was used to kill trees and plants in order to clear off the land of green cover. Agent Orange would be sprayed by American bomber planes on the forests repeatedly in South and Central Vietnam, and even parts of Cambodia and Laos, since a lot of the Vietnamese fighters and the Viet Cong especially moved around in the forests by day and hid themselves from the American forces. But the chemical caused many disabilities in the persons who were exposed to it, and it was also carcinogenic, which means it caused cancer. The chemical caused a lot of disabilities, and even those who were born as children to these survivors, who probably even did not have one single after effect of being exposed to Agent Orange, began to develop a lot of issues. The most common problems that we learnt about that these people had were ungrown limbs, paralyzed body parts, damaged organs, many other physical disabilities, and not to mention all the neuromental problems that people were born with. While most of these victims were Vietnamese soldiers and their families, many others were even soldiers from the US, Australia, and further into the Western world. These are all people who had fought in the land where the Agent Orange chemical was sprayed and they were exposed to it. So from this, we hope you learnt about the history of Vietnam the way we did at the museum. We don't generally take sides because we feel we don't know most of the story. However, what we learned today was something we really wanted to share with you. We felt very sad about the innocent lives lost in this quest for control and power. It's unfortunate that common people like you and me suffer because of decisions made by somebody sitting very comfortably in a government office, even if it means that person sat outside the country somewhere else. However, what we really learned about was the great Vietnamese spirit. They're an amazing people with a strong will, a beautiful kindness even with their pain and suffering. And we'll show you these amazing people we meet in the next few videos. In fact, as Indians, we could relate to the freedom struggle of the Vietnamese so much. There are so many similarities we share with the Vietnamese, including the culture and character. So a big salute to the Vietnamese and respect to their historic struggles. And we hope to experience more of this wonderful country and its people over the course of the next few weeks.
This behind me is the Notre Dame Cathedral, but unfortunately because of renovation works that have been going on for a while now, we can't really see the design and the beautiful elements. But when we were here in 2017, we managed to get a little picture of it. So I'll just put that up over here. You can see how beautiful it looks. This goes back to the time when the French colonized the country. This is a monument even today for religious purposes, as well as it being an icon of Ho Chi Minh City.
With that, we come to the end of our first vlog from Vietnam.
Hope you enjoyed it and come along with us as we explore a brand new place tomorrow.
See you day after. Bye.
Somebody's scared of the dogs again. Wait, what happened?
New place, new country, but same menace. Same dogs behind me, they run and come.